A finance director in Singapore sat down for a video call with her CEO, her CFO, and 3 senior colleagues. She could see their faces, she could hear their voices, she trusted every one of them. Then she wired $499,000 to an account she had never seen before. Every single person on that call was fake, generated in real time by artificial intelligence. This was not a phishing email. This was not a suspicious phone call from an unknown number. This was a high-definition video conference, faces she recognized, voices that matched perfectly, and a request that felt completely routine. And by the time anyone realized what had happened, the money was gone. Deepfake fraud is not coming. It is already here, and the people behind it are getting better at it faster than most companies can protect themselves. Let us go back to where this story really begins. In the early days of AI-generated media, deepfakes were mostly a curiosity. Researchers and hobbyists used them to swap celebrity faces in videos, impressive, unsettling, but largely harmless. The technology required serious computing power and took hours to render even short clips. Most experts assumed it would be years before criminals could weaponize it in real time. They were wrong. By 2022, open-source tools had made real-time face and voice cloning accessible to almost anyone with a laptop and a broadband connection. You could feed a model just a few minutes of audio to clone a person's voice. You could feed it photos or video clips scraped from LinkedIn, a company website, or a public earnings call, and rebuild a convincing digital replica of that person's face. The barrier to entry had collapsed, and that is when organized crime started paying attention. Now here's the part that most people do not realize. These attacks are not random. They are targeted, researched, and meticulously planned, and the reason why is stranger than you would think. We'll get to that in a moment. The Singapore case in 2024 was not an isolated incident. Around the same time, a finance worker in Hong Kong was tricked into transferring the equivalent of $25 million after a deepfake video call impersonating multiple senior executives of his company. $25 million, wired out in a single transaction. The Hong Kong police force publicly confirmed the case, calling it the first of its kind at that scale. Think about that number for a second. $25 million, gone, because a person on a video call looked and sounded exactly like someone they knew. So how does this actually work? Here's the mechanics of it without the technical jargon. Attackers start with reconnaissance. They build a profile of the target company, who reports to whom, who has authority to approve large wire transfers, what the CEO's voice sounds like from recorded earnings calls or conference talks, what the CFO looks like from LinkedIn photos or Investor Day presentations. This is all public information. Then they use that material to train AI models that can generate a real-time video and audio feed of those executives. When the call happens, the victim sees a familiar face on their screen. They hear a familiar voice giving a plausible instruction. An urgent acquisition, a regulatory fine must be paid immediately, a confidential restructuring deal. The social engineering is the same as it has always been. The technology is what has changed. And here is the open loop we planted earlier. Why do these criminals do so much research before striking? Because they are not guessing. They know exactly who in a company has the authority to move money, and they know that authority comes with trust. They are not hacking a system. They are hacking a person. And the research they do beforehand makes their impersonation convincing enough to exploit that trust completely. Law enforcement agencies across the world, from the FBI to Interpol to the UK's National Crime Agency, have all issued formal warnings about this exact threat. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center flagged a sharp rise in what they call business email compromise, evolving into business identity compromise, where criminals no longer just fake an email, they fake the actual person. But here is where the story escalates again, because the scale of this problem is about to get significantly worse. The tools used to create these deepfakes are improving on a monthly basis. What required a research lab in 2019 fits inside a consumer laptop today. Voice cloning that once needed 30 minutes of audio now works with 3 seconds of a sample. 3 seconds, which is less than a voicemail greeting. Face synthesis has reached a level of quality that most people, even trained professionals, cannot reliably detect with the naked eye. Some security researchers have tried to build detection tools that analyze microexpressions, lighting inconsistencies, and pixel-level artifacts that AI faces often produce. And while those tools have shown promise in controlled tests, they are in a constant arms race with the generation models. Every time detection improves, the deepfakes improve to evade it. The real protection, according to cybersecurity experts in organizations like the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre, is not technological, it is procedural. It is changing how companies verify high-value financial requests, no matter how trusted the source appears to be. The most effective countermeasures are almost deliberately low-tech, requiring a second out-of-band confirmation for any wire transfer over a set threshold, meaning a separate phone call to a pre-verified number, not a callback to a number provided in the same communication, establishing a company-wide code word or challenge phrase for unexpected high-value requests, training finance teams to treat urgency as a red flag, not a reason to act faster, because urgency is the weapon these criminals rely on. Every deepfake scam call comes loaded with it. There is always a deal that must close today, a regulator that must be paid by end of business, a situation too sensitive to go through normal channels. That artificial pressure is deliberately engineered to short-circuit the victim's instinct to pause and verify. And now we arrive at the part of this story that is the most unsettling of all. Most victims of deepfake fraud are not naive. They are experienced professionals, finance directors, CFOs, senior managers, who have spent careers making sound judgments. They did not fall for a Nigerian prince email. They fell because the attack was designed specifically around their context, their relationships, and their normal working patterns. The failure was not personal. The threat was simply that sophisticated. The Singapore finance director, the Hong Kong employee who transferred $25 million. These are not cautionary tales about carelessness. They are evidence that a new category of crime exists, one that has crossed a threshold we cannot uncross. Deepfake fraud is already costing businesses hundreds of millions of dollars annually, and that number is rising. The 2024 Global Anti-Scam Alliance report and analysis from cybersecurity firms including SumSub have documented year-over-year increases in AI-assisted fraud attempts in the triple digits, meaning the number of attacks is more than doubling every year. Every organization that handles money, and that is essentially every organization, is a target. The question is no longer whether this technology will be used against you. The question is whether your protocols are designed for a world where you cannot trust your own eyes and ears on a video call. That is a genuinely new kind of world, and most of us are only just beginning to understand what it demands. If this video made you think differently about how your organization verifies financial requests or how you personally confirm identities online, then it served its purpose. Subscribe for a new financial crime story every week. We cover the cases that reveal how money, technology, and human nature intersect in ways that are often stranger than fiction. And leave a comment below. Do you think your workplace has adequate protocols to catch a deepfake call today? Most people, when they think it through honestly, realize the answer is no.